Hi everybody, Vanquished Angel here again, and today we're going to discuss kind of an interesting subject that I came across. So this month I am on vacation from my one main job, and I am sort of doing things and traveling, but I really haven't done much. So I went to the cities for a little while, about a weekend, this weekend, and I have a gym membership that is pretty international. So I went to go check out their gym that they have in the cities compared to my small town. And I got a very interesting interaction. My first gym lurker. Now, I'm going to make it very clear that kind of where I stand on a little bit of things. So first off, in the gym that I go to, they oftentimes have communal showers. I'm actually all for this. Not in the line of being a gay man, but more along the lines of body acceptance. This was the path that I actually used to accept myself. And being nude in the locker room and then going to the shower was very hard. And so this was sort of my body positivity movement to just come to accept myself. And I learned something very valuable in the process of this, because I wouldn't even get naked in a locker room. And then I decided, I'm tired of being ashamed. I want to learn to accept my body and not hate my body. And surprisingly, this is a part of it. And locker rooms and things like that are kind of increasingly becoming more, what do they call them, universal. And this means that you don't actually strip down naked, that you go to a cubicle where you strip down, and then the cubicle in the back has access to the shower. Now, this sounds like it would be very progressive and maybe for the transgendered people. But I wanted to be comfortable with my body, and I feel that this is very important, especially to men, because people don't often think that men have body image issues, and men kind of act all macho about it, but the truth is they do, and it's actually very common for men to have body image issues. And this is kind of a place in the shower in the locker room where men bond, where they kind of learn to get over or deal with their body image issues. And this is actually, at least psychologically proven at this far from a few studies, actually very healthy and beneficial for men. And I would have to say, going through the experience myself, it actually is. And I read somewhere in another forum where somebody argued that you can do this at home. You actually cannot do this at home. It's not the same. It's nowhere near in the same category. I mean, men, they bond, they talk to their about their wives, or about their children, or about games, or whatever else have you. And we kind of just learn to not care about our bodies. We learn to accept them. And there's overweight men, there's old men, there's young men, there's fit men, whatever. It doesn't really matter. And I have come a long way in accepting myself and being okay with my body type. And yes, a lot of people are like, oh, hey, you're thin or whatever, you have nothing to worry about. Well, I'm thinner. I'm not exactly thin anymore. But actually, for men, being thin is counterproductive. So this is why I kind of support the communal showers. And I like that my gym separates the age. So you can't enter those showers unless you're above a certain age. I really don't like kids being in the locker room, and one or two times that it has happened, it makes me uncomfortable. Like, I'm not against it if I hear about it, I just don't like being in there while there's a kid there. I'm uncomfortable. But that said, and which actually is also part of this discussion, I went to the cities, Minneapolis and St. Paul, and I was at the the St. Paul downtown gym that they have. And this one is actually built into an old mall. So it's like the upper floors of a mall that used to be functional. I don't know if the lower floor still is or not. I walked through there, but there was nothing there, it seemed. But that's a different subject. So I went in, and it was the weekend, so my workouts were already done. There's some drama, and I needed to get away for a little while, so I went to go use the sauna. Now, my gym here that I'm a member of has a sauna, a steam room, hot tubs. It's pretty nice. This gym, however, only had the sauna. So I go in there to go to the sauna, and it was a very nice locker room when I went in there. And I asked somebody coming out of the shower where the sauna was. And, he showed me, and that was really nice. And so I finished getting undressed, and I go, because you shower first before you go into any of the amenities. That's just sort of courtesy. It's what you do. And so I go and I strip down and then I shower, and then that guy who just came out of the showers to help me went back into the shower, and I'm like, oh, well, sometimes that happens, because they go do things or sit in the sauna. Or I don't know if he was sitting in the sauna beforehand and came up to cool down or whatever. And so whatever, I shower, I go into the sauna, and then he comes into the sauna, which I thought was kind of weird, but whatever. And I'm naked, and I'm just sitting there. I don't care. And I thought it was a little weird, but then he left back to the shower, which is normal after a sauna, and then he went out to the locker room, and I'm like, okay, I'm here alone, so I'm going to lay down and just relax. I needed an hour away from the drama that was happening with the people that I was staying with, and whatever. And so this is a little bit of me time, and I had, flipped over, and then somebody came into the sauna, whatever, I'm not getting up now. And so I'm just laying there relaxing on my towels, and then I go to sit up, and the guy goes, oh yeah, and I'm like, no. And then I look over, and he's touching himself, and he motioned to me, and I just kind of leaned in, and I said, no thank you. And he's like, what? And I said, no thank you. And so then I left the sauna, I showered, and I went back into the locker room and got dressed and went along my merry way. Now, this doesn't really bother me so much because he was respectful. I was a little uncomfortable with a few things, and I'll go over that. Him touching himself, that, no. And I don't like that it was in kind of a relatively public area. So this was my first experience ever with a lurker, years on going to the gym, and I am a gay man. So this was my first lurker, and first very obvious lurker. Now I don't care if people look. I mean, it's natural, it's human, it's actually healthy. Straight men glance, gay men glance. I don't even care if you hold for a little bit, like, that doesn't bother me. I'm not really ashamed of my body anymore like I used to be. However, when you talk to me, don't talk to me while staring at my genitalia. That is crude. And so now I understand how women feel when men talk to them and they're talking to their boobs. I get it now. Like, he was just totally staring while talking to me, and that was just ridiculous. Don't do that. That's rude. Also, it really, I don't, not in a public place. Like, okay, whatever. Just don't do that in a public place. Like, I'm not a prude. I'm not, whatever. So I really, really did not care for that experience so much. Am I like, oh my god, no, I'm not. But that's just, you don't do that. I mean, you just don't do that. Statistically speaking, straight men look at penises and butts and everything else more than gay men do. Gay men are really conditioned while surviving in society to watch their habits. And so they don't generally do that. Now, you'll run across one and somebody will have some weird obscure story about this or that you hear about, but that's actually extremely rare. It's more often than not that straight men are going to be the ones looking. And that is my experience as well. It's the straight men that have commented on my tattoos. It's the straight men, sitting talking about their wives, and then they're looking, and that's okay. That's actually healthy. That's good for the psychology of men and their body positivity to develop a healthy image of themselves. However, being uncomfortable with this happening in my gym, I decided to drive to another one in St. Paul and go to a completely different one. This one as well, to my surprise, only had a sauna. Now, in this one, the sauna was blocked by a metal door. So in the first one, it was a glass door. In this one, it was a metal door, which was really kind of odd because I would never have recognized it as a sauna. I would have looked at that as like a boiler room, and so actually I did initially pass it until I felt heat from the door. So I went in, and I'm chilling there, did the usual, you shower first and then go into the sauna. And I'm there, and some man brings in a little kid. Now, in this gym, I will say, it was not designated as an adult only. This kid was about 3 or 4, and I really don't think they belong in a sauna at that age. But that's my opinion. And but anyway, he brings this little kid in, and the little kid initially had shorts on, but I'm uncomfortable because I'm nude. So I used the towel that I was sitting on to cover, just kind of, nonchalantly just cover. And the little kid and the father were in there, and the father had shorts on too, and whatever, and they were talking. He's telling his kid to talk to us, and we're just all kind of quiet, and the little kid's really shy and was whispering, and he's holding on to like a teddy bear or something, I don't know, something he had in the pool with him, and he was just whispering, and he was a cute little kid. And then they left, and then I'm like, okay, so just whatever, uncover, it's all men in this sauna, I don't care. But then he came back, and this time they had taken off their shorts. And so the father was nude, and the kid was nude. And I recovered myself back up. I just didn't like the little kid being there with me naked. It just was uncomfortable. And it's not that I think that it's a bad thing, necessarily. I think kids should do certain things. I don't know about being in a sauna for their health, but I'm not exactly opposed to that type of thing. I just don't want to be nude while a kid is there. And I really did not care for that much. And the father was talking, and the father told me that he wanted the kid to get accustomed to sauna conversations and talking with the men. And then I kind of understood what he was saying. His kid was very shy, not very outgoing, and this was his way of him, teaching his son to be a man and socialize with men, and which I think is healthy. And I'm not opposed to that. I just was uncomfortable myself. But granted, again, this wasn't designated as an adults only or 16, 17 or older locker room, so I guess it should have been expected, and I really didn't pay attention to that. So that also made me uncomfortable. So these are my experiences that are kind of on the negative side of communal showers and wet rooms in communal areas. On the positive side, though, I've met a lot of very interesting people, and I have forged some friendships, and we talk about our day, and we give each other advice, and we talk about politics, and it's just actually really cool. And a lot of them have actually moved on to seeing me at my other job. So I'm a massage therapist at my other job, so they come to my place of business and they get massages from me, and it's actually quite cool. We talk about anything from our jobs to whatever. We say hi to each other and we nod, and we have some meaningful discussions and things like that. I think a lot of them had a hard time believing in my home gym, that in my small town, that we actually have a better gym than the ones in St. Paul or Minnesota do. I didn't check out the ones in Minnesota, but that seemed really far-fetched to them, but we actually do. My gym has, in the men's locker room, we have a fitness center right in there. And this usually is for overweights or really out of shape men that don't want to work out in front of women or feel self-conscious. And I feel that this is beneficial. And in the women's side, I'm sure they have the same thing. We also have a lounge area inside of our locker room where the guys collect to watch games. So that's actually also very cool. I didn't see any of that in the bigger city, in the St. Paul, the two gyms that I went to there. They didn't have any of that. So that was rather interesting to experience. So it could be culturally in my area that we are a little bit more open about being nude into the locker room, and a lot of it is just very casual, and we don't really care. I mean, there's some who do. Some wear shorts into the hot tub because it's in the locker room, you don't have to. Some wear shorts into the sauna. The weirdest thing I think I've seen is someone in a full suit getting into the sauna, and they were overweight. I'm like, I can barely tolerate being in there nude sometimes. I don't know, dressed head to toe, how I would pass out. But that's just how it is. So that's my experience with my lurker and my experience with communal showers. I think they're actually very beneficial. I know they've helped me overcome a lot of issues that I've had with myself. I think they're healthy. I think this is something that actually does need to stay. I'm really not all for the universal locker rooms. I saw a little bit of that while I was in college starting to take over, and I'm like, what's this? I just used the communal one at that time because there was nobody in there. That's before I learned to accept myself a bit more. So, but I didn't really, I really now see that it has its benefit. When I was in school, the communal showers were common, and that's what were used because I'm a little bit older. So we all stood around a pole facing each other and you showered up. At that time, I did not use the communal showers due to the abuses that I have been through. So it took me a long time, and I can understand kids going through puberty or different stages of puberty, or kids that have been through abuse and why they would not want communal showers. That said, I think it's extremely healthy for older men, especially maybe women. I don't know too much about that, but I think it's actually a healthy practice for men, and I think that this is something that's dying that really needs to stick around. Okay, thank you for listening, and have a good day, and let me know what you think in the comments below.